This is Dr. Jeanne Schul, and I'll be sharing with you the project She Who Dances Us Into Being, the Divine Feminine. This is a result of an award I received as a recipient of the OPUS Archives New Mythos Award. I became interested in the goddess visuals and artifacts of archaeomythologist Marija Gambutas as a result of a sequence of dreams that I had, offering me archetypal imagery of a variety of goddesses. The plates of the goddess imagery that you'll be seeing was made available to me throughout the week that I was at OPUS Archives. This New Mythos Award that I received had a goal, which was to engage in an interdisciplinary dialogue between goddess images, the researcher as choreographer, which was me, the dancers at Berry College, my students, and the audience. This research project created an intersection between the mythic symbols of goddesses housed in the archives and dance as an art form. By creating dance imagery based on goddess statuary, the OPUS collections were made available to a wider audience in a manner that Marija Gimbutas may not have imagined. In this way, psyche, soma, and soul were danced into being, embodying the ancient goddesses in a dance performance that dreams the images forward into a new mythos for today's culture. As I studied this imagery, I discovered that the eyes of the goddess were incredibly important. In this plate, you'll see the bird goddess that often had diagonal and vertical bands of parallel lines, zigzags, and striated lines or dots. Again, the eyes of the goddess were of great significance, and these snake coils were perceived to be divine eyes, which features the snake's dynamic energy, which was thought at that time to be drawn from water and the sun, with the magical affinity of snake and eye. The fusion of these two disparate images into a single symbolic expression were found in old European ceramics, temples, and tombs. And you see this in the plate to your right. When I returned from my week at OPUS in the archives, I auditioned dancers at Berry College with the understanding that we would be creating this goddess dance based on Marija Gimbutas' imagery. I auditioned students who carried qualities that were earth-like or grounded, powerful, strong, bird-like, which had the air quality of being very light, airy, delicate. Also, I was looking for snake energy, sinuous movement qualities, which also had a water-like energy. And then I also eventually developed the great goddess imagery, which I connected with fire, the element of fire. I met with each of the groups during rehearsal, and with the snake goddesses, I gave them a number of different images, and then asked them to play with them, to be creative with me, to work on choreographic shapes. The earth element was given a number of plates or images, again with their elemental signature, that which is grounded, powerful, connected to the earth. All of the goddesses opened the piece, and their upward reaching arms with their face lifted is the gesture of epiphany for any manifestation of the deity. So this is the goddess in all of her manifestations, and this is how the dance opened. I offered this plate to my costume designer, explaining that, of course, it was the body of the goddess that held the significance. And this great goddess imagery, Gambutas told us, is the life-generating great goddess in her various aspects and functions. The goddesses created a headdress with their own arms and explored the terrain by moving laterally, always maintaining the inverted V formation with their legs in connection with the earth. And this was for the opening. And that V formation comes out of the chevrons that we see that are engraved all over these goddess statuaries. The eyes and breasts of the goddess were a source of divine sustenance. And of course, from the eyes we have water, and from the breast, milk. And in the imagery that we found in the archives, this was considered her gift to the earth, this life-sustaining source of life. Images on your left are available at the archives to view. And Gambutas asserts the goddess in all her manifestations was a symbol of the unity of all life in nature, and not just animal life, but also the terrain and the plant life. Again, we see that inverted V, arms overhead as though it's a headdress or a mask, and the dancers are moving laterally, side to side in a zigzag formation, mimicking or offering the image that is, again, often drawn or engraved on these statuaries. Snake goddesses, one of the elemental energies that we worked with. You'll see on the figure to the right, a triangular ritual vessel that is decorated with white encrusted meander pattern over a net design background. And you'll see the snake heads protruding on the three corners. The goddesses drew attention to their hips because of the procreative energy there. You may be able to imagine their hands circling down at their pelvis, drawing attention again to their hips as the embodiment of the creatrix. This image in the collection emphasizes again the hips, this place of the womb, this place of creative life. Now, this imagery in the opening choreography offers us lightness as well as strength and power. Bird imagery, you might think of the stork, of a heron, this ability to balance on one foot. But what we don't often see with this imagery is the strength and power that's required to hold this position. So we're trying to balance in each of this goddess manifestation, both lightness, strength, power, and delicacy. In this image, the hips are wide, and yet there is the balancing element because you'll see the dancers are balancing on the ball of their feet. The arms are wide, so the heart is open. So open heart, open pelvis, this energy of procreative power, as well as the imagery of compassion of the goddess with the open-heartedness. On your left, and wrapped around each other, we have the snake or the water imagery. with the goddesses on the right, this earth element, grounded, powerful, and connected to the earth. Again, the image on the left comes from the OPUS archives, and this is an image of the goddess as regenatrix. The symbols and images cluster around the parthogenic, self-generating goddess and her basic functions as giver of life, wielder of death, and not less importantly, as regenatrix, and around the Earth Mother, the fertility goddess, young and old, rising and dying with the plant life. With this imagery, you can perhaps imagine the lightness, the image of soaring or flight, and the air element of the bird goddesses. What Gimbutas tells us is that the bird goddess often is represented as a figurine with a beaked or duck-billed mask and the body of a human female. Whether masked or not, bird goddess figurines either exhibit her symbols, chevrons, trilines, meanders, and streams. And again, the plate on the right offers an image of this duck-billed mask and female body. In this image, we have the masculine supporting the feminine, trying to create the image of lightness, of her lifting off the ground in the preparation for flight. Again, masculine supporting the feminine, inversion, turning, lightness, while he remains connected to the earth. Another image, open-hearted, both of them. This idea of one-leggedness, stretching, reaching with the bird energy. Another partnering, another one-legged image. He supporting her, she creating this lighter-than-air image. And the image of flight. Again, masculine supporting feminine, airbound. Then we come into more grounded imagery, again with the masculine supporting the feminine, very grounded into the earth, with him maintaining a verticality while she creates this horizontal line. Back into the imagery of flight, soaring into the air. And then we move into this watery snake imagery, this one body wrapping around the other, entwining the two, both the front side and the back side of this. Working with this idea of a sensuous movement, very connected one with the other. And again, with this snake and water imagery, wrapping around each other, balancing off each other, surrounding each other, and powerful. Working with the dancers, while I had clear ideas coming from the OPUS archives and from my research about these different goddesses, it was their ability to make these images embodied that was the exciting collaborative aspect of this choreography. Here we were working with what became this great goddess imagery. The woman in center, supported on both ends by women working with earth energy, the gentleman at center holding this earth energy, very grounded, and the great goddess in the center, collaborating with all of them and working through trust. In this process, we, of course, had to spot one another to keep it safe and check in with each other to make sure that this was going to be okay, considering lighting and costume issues. But we did come into this shape with the great goddess, with her consort, even in the strength he is demonstrating, holding her, carrying her. He also curves and shapes with her in harmony. So the strength and the softness of his spine were as significant as her imagery. This image with angular arms, with upward reaching hands, portray ancient images of the goddess being worshipped by raising their hands in the typical gesture of epiphany. So even as his arms are upward, look at the strength in the thighs, in the torso, at the shoulders, strength as well as the sense of epiphany found with this male consort image. Again, power, strength, groundedness, earthiness, even as they work collaboratively to create this balance of the masculine and the feminine. Still working with this earth-grounded energy, we're working to stay powerful, connected with the earth, and giving in to our weightedness rather than working with the illusion of being lighter than air for the earth goddesses and God. Other images working with the great goddess, ideas of spiraling with her, creating a sense of being both grounded and connected to the earth, both sinuous like the snakes, but light like the birds. A lot of work collaboratively, working masculine and feminine energy, weight sharing, not just the men always carrying the woman's weight, but the women also working with the male weight. And the dancers working both women and women, men and men, partnering. In this image, the women are working with the male to help balance this mountain-like height but grounded energy. Gimbutas tells us the main theme of goddess symbolism is the mystery of birth and death and renewal of life, not only human, but all of life on earth and indeed in the whole cosmos. And the image on the right we're looking at is a bird image. You see a beak and also the wings going out to the side. But the breasts actually are spouts that actually can pour forth fluid. It's a very graphic image. As the dance continued to evolve, we took it into the schools with two, what we call informances. So we talked to the children, fourth graders, about 2002 shows, about the different movement qualities that both the men and the women, college men and women, were demonstrating. And the kids were totally enthralled with what was actually possible. And then we came into our full evening concert sequence on the main stage, full lighting, costuming, and with a crowd of about 1,000 community and college folks in the audience. Before the dance of She Who Dances Us, the Feminine Divine, was this reading that I wrote. In a time before recorded history, images in stone, bone, and clay depicted goddess cultures that were harmonious and creative. Today, let us imagine a new mythos where goddesses of many names are joined with collaborative counterparts in a union of equals, not opposites, creating images of the masculine and feminine coming into balanced relationship, where the God and goddess in all of us can be well met by the other. This opening image we saw earlier in rehearsal, arms reaching skyward, connecting with all that is divine. And inviting in the elements of earth, you see, with these wide hips, open heart, fire in the center with the red, orange, and yellow costume. And on the far right, you begin to see the air element in flight in blue. The snake goddesses with greens, offering again that sinuous energy, the ways in which we can encircle one another, support one another with both power, flexibility, and muscularity. Then the goddess of water, snake imagery, with her consort, the god of snake energy, to the left. In the center, low on the ground, that grounded energy of the earth. To the far right, the air energy, flight, and again, the balancing of the masculine and the feminine. With this bird energy, the women in blue, balancing, reaching, open-hearted, arching skyward, ready to take flight, balanced by their male counterpart, who's strong, grounded, but also facilitating their lightness. Then this embrace of the great goddess with all the other gods and goddesses in a position of honoring. And the earth male, powerful with his strong lower body grounding him, but upper body, the spine curving in relationship to this great goddess, supporting her with his strength, but softening into shaping with her. And again, at center, we have this strong mountain earth energy with the great goddess in the center as well, with all the other water and air energy of the gods and goddesses paying homage, head to the earth, heart to the earth, with this sense of both above and below. And we see it again, the goddess above and below, the masculine supporting the feminine, the flight at center of the bird goddess, but also the bird goddesses on either side with hips grounded in their lunge position and hands and hearts reaching skyward. So above and below connecting with this goddess energy and with the support of the masculine. Another image of the earth energy, wide, strong thighs, masculine and feminine, finding another way of supporting the energy, arching over their thighs, heart open, connecting the earth with the air. Then this image of self-contained strength in the snake goddess. The flexibility here is, of course, extreme, but also the strength to hold the position is quite amazing. So this idea of individuation, of being complete unto herself. And then the dance ends, dancing us into being with the snake energy to the left, entwined. Both the great goddess at the height, at center, and the earth goddesses and gods around her. Then with the air energy to the far right. And I want to, of course, offer special thanks to these Berry College dancers, without whom I could never have created this piece. And the contributors listed here, of course, Marija Gambutas' books, as well as the OPUS collection that you saw plates of throughout. And then again, the dancers of She Who Dances Us from Berry College Dance Troupe. Thank you for joining me.